Throughout the history of this channel, we have talked a lot about promotion and marketing and different ways that you can do it, but there's one way that we've never really mentioned, and today I want to mention it because it's really useful. The way that I want to talk about in terms of marketing that you need to be using that we have never even mentioned is mailing lists.
I think I have mentioned it.
We might have mentioned it, but we've not done a full video on it or talked about it extensively, which is what I'm going to do today. Now, if you already know what a mailing list is and you know the advantages of it, stick around because we do also have some tips for you if you have a mailing list about how to grow it. So first off is I want to talk about the fact that mailing lists have a way better way of getting in touch with people than normal social media does. See, if you have a mailing list of, I don't know, 100 people and you have a Facebook page with 100 likes. If you put a post out, you are far more likely to get a better hit rate using the mailing list than you are the Facebook page. This is proved in statistics and all that kind of stuff, but Facebook only sends your post to a certain amount of people. It's normally about 4 or 5%, sees how it goes with them, and then they will decide whether to send that post to more people or not. So your hit rate on Facebook is already limited by the amount of people that Facebook actually wants to send it to. A mailing list instantly is sent to everyone on your mailing list. And the click-through rate is better. The industry average for the music industry for a click-through rate on a mailing list is about 17%. Which is really good. You saying, I have a new video out. You saying that you have a new video out will get, on average, 17% of the people that you've sent it to actually click on that link. That is really high compared to almost all of social media. So it has its advantages in terms of actual public marketing. You'll be able to reach more people and get them to see the thing that you want them to see. You'll be able to reach more people and get them to see the thing that you want them to see by using a mailing list. So it's great for actual marketing to fans, but it's also really good for marketing yourself to festivals or agents or any type of business that you might be wanting to represent yourself to. Because Facebook likes and Twitter follows and YouTube subscribers can all be bought. Seeing an account with 50,000 Facebook likes doesn't necessarily mean that they actually have 50,000 people that are interested in that artist. Very often you will be able to come across artists that have got way more likes and follows than they actually have people interacting. That's probably because they've actually bought them. With a mailing list, it's very different. If you have a mailing list of 2,000 people and you have an average click rate of 20%, which is above average, but for some reason the metrics I seem to get from my mailing lists tend to be higher than average, so I don't know if you'd be able to replicate the same kind of things. Having that kind of thing to brag and to be able to say, we have a mailing list of 2,000 people, that is 2,000 people that are definitely interested in you as a band because they want to receive regular updates. Liking something on Facebook isn't that kind of commitment, so people are more likely to like you on Facebook, they're more likely to follow you on Twitter. But to be able to go to a festival and say, we have 2,000 Twitter followers, isn't as good as being able to say, we have 2,000 people on our mailing list. Now, obviously, that's not to say that it's as easy to get. It is easier to get Twitter followers than it is a mailing list. But it is definitely worth spending time to actually build a mailing list. If you have to prioritize one area of marketing for yourself as an artist, prioritizing a mailing list and trying to build up a mailing list is far more important, in my eyes, than actual social media is. Now, as much as I'm saying focus on a mailing list, I'm not saying don't focus on everything else. You definitely need to be running proper social media and everything alongside a mailing list. You won't get away with just having a mailing list. That's not as effective. With most things in music, in terms of promotion, having everything at the same time will give you much better results than just focusing on a few things. So they're kind of the advantages and the reasons why you should have a mailing list. But I want to talk to you about actually making a mailing list and how you can do it. I have always used a website called MailChimp. I will link it in the description. We aren't sponsored, we aren't being paid, although MailChimp, if you're watching this and would like to sponsor us. So we're not going to talk about competition, we're not going to talk about different ways that you can do mailing lists. I would recommend looking into different ways of doing mailing lists. It's just I've never used any other way, and I'm not willing to build up separate mailing lists on separate websites just to see what's good or bad, because that could then be potentially destructive to the mailing list itself. So what I'm going to do is just tell you a little bit about MailChimp. You can ignore it, you can go find something else if you want to, but MailChimp is really good in my eyes, and you can do a lot of cool, powerful stuff with it. So you can really easily make multiple lists, so you can have multiple mailing lists on one account. That's really handy if you do multiple stuff like I do. You can build up sign-up forms really easily, which is handy if you don't have your own website or way of having people sign up to a mailing list. It will build you a little kind of website thing that is a sign-up for the mailing list. You've got analytics there as well, where people are, who people are, how they signed up, when they signed up, how many times they've interacted with each individual email that you've sent. Then you can click on each individual email that you have sent and see how many people viewed that, where people were for that one specific email. Did people click links? Where did they click links? How many times did they open it before they clicked a link? All that kind of cool stuff that is really helpful to create better campaigns in the future. MailChimp has all of that information. And well, this is probably a big selling point. It's also free, so that's always good. Okay, so that is what we use, but use it no matter what you've chosen to use for your mailing list. Here's some tips for what you can do to promote your mailing list. Because it's not the easiest thing to just put a tweet out and be like, oh, we've got a mailing list, and then no one signs up to it. It's like, what do we do now?
It's giving away your email, isn't it? It's not really something people like to do.
Yeah, so it is something that you're going to have to work on gradually over time. You can either work people down, provided that people are always aware that you have a mailing list. When they eventually decide, do you know what, I am going to sign up, it's in their mind that you have got a mailing list. If you only mention it once per year, you're not going to be able to work on people and gradually convert them over to mailing list subscribers. They just aren't going to remember that you even have one, so they're not going to care. So it's something that you kind of need to be mentioning a lot without being intrusive and being like, have you signed up to our mailing list yet? Have you signed up to our mailing list yet? Because that's just going to piss people off. So here's a few different ways of promoting your mailing list that you can kind of scatter about throughout the year or throughout months to make sure that you aren't spamming people, but you are getting the message across. The first one is obvious, semi-regular social media posts on Facebook, on Twitter, just a nice little reminder of, oh, by the way, we have a mailing list and we have exclusive stuff going out on the mailing list. That's always really helpful to say what you actually post to your mailing list. Do you do exclusive stuff? Do you have a weekly live stream that you post only to your that you will post only to your mailing list subscribers? Do you have videos go out early to them? Do they get exclusive access to merchandise or discounts or whatever? All of those things you can do, but you need to figure out what you are going to do and promote the mailing list with those things in mind. It's always something that you can mention at a live show, just in between two songs, maybe towards the end of your set. Oh, by the way, we have a mailing list. And if you actually have a physical sheet of paper, that's always really handy too. If you just have a sheet of paper with just all the fields that you need from them, so name, email, or if you want anything else from them, like, I don't know, their favourite colour, or, you know, just something like that, just something cool you could work with it. Have a sheet of paper with those boxes on. If anyone then is actually interested in signing up to your mailing list, you don't have to say, oh, go to this website or go to our mailinglist.ourband.com. You don't have to do any of that bollocks. You can just say, we have a sheet of paper, please put your email and name on the sheet of paper and we will do the hard work. That is really handy to do, and there aren't enough artists actually doing that. It's worth noting, the artists that we do know that do that have had really good rates with doing it. Like, there's some artists that we've had that have been on tour, they filled sheet after sheet of just emails from people that want to sign up to their mailing list. If they were just pointing people towards a website, they would not have had that hit rate. This isn't necessarily a great way of marketing the mailing list itself, but running competitions for people that are on the mailing list can be really effective, because you can, on social media or at shows, you can promote the mailing list without actually promoting the mailing list. Promote the competition and have it so that the entry fee, if you like, for the competition is signing up to the mailing list. That way it seems a little bit less spammy that you're just posting about the mailing list, because you're not posting about the mailing list, you're posting about the competition. The most obvious one, which a lot of bands seem to forget, is actually have it linked everywhere. If you've got a Facebook page, in the About section, put your mailing list link. On Twitter, have your website as your mailing list link. On Bandcamp, have it in the little description, your mailing list link. On YouTube, in the descriptions and in the About section, have your mailing list link. There are so many artists that have all these social media accounts and don't point towards the thing that they actually want to point people towards. Do point towards these things, because when people are just Googling you and finding your Facebook page or your Twitter, they might want to sign up to a mailing list. And if you're not providing them with the link, they might never find it. And the last method that we would recommend for promoting your mailing list is the one that's always overlooked, which is word of mouth. Talk to people. When you're telling people about your band, when someone goes, oh, you're in a band, aren't you? Yeah, I am. Oh, what kind of stuff do you do? Oh, we do this kind of stuff. Oh, by the way, we've got a mailing list if you're interested. You know, just have it as the first thing that you talk about, because provided that you are always emailing people with updates about what's going on, or cool stuff that they can do, or discounts or whatever, provided that you are always using that as your main source of promotion, it's a great way of just saying, oh, just sign up to our mailing list and we will physically email you when something comes out, when something cool's happening. That's better than just being, oh, like us on Facebook, because they might like you on Facebook, they might not see the post. Getting people to just sign up to your mailing list just because you're just talking to them in conversation, great way of having people sign up and actually converting people into fans. I hope that was helpful, because mailing lists are really important and no one talks about them, because they are a little bit boring, and it's the only kind of marketing that isn't public. Like the billboards and posters and leaflets and whatever, like social media and all that kind of stuff, is always public. It's you just shouting into the world and hoping that someone is listening. Mailing lists are behind closed doors, if you like. They give you their email and you kind of give them stuff back, and no one knows what's being given unless they sign up themselves. It's kind of something that's not spoken about, probably because of that, and it's really helpful and really useful to have, and it's great for building an audience and converting people from little fans that maybe care to super fans that really care, because you actually give a shit about them and are emailing them personally. I hope this video was helpful. Also, again, I said this last week, but we're doing some test streams over on Twitch. There'll be a link in the description if you want to see kind of the streams. I'm doing mainly, I'm just demoing tracks and live streaming me demoing tracks and doing a bit of Q&A and that kind of stuff. So if you want to check out those, go make an account on Twitch and subscribe or follow the channel, and you get to see that. Cool. So I hope that was helpful. On screen now there is a link to the rest of the videos in this playlist and also our best of playlist. Have a good week, and we will see you next week.